G'day, and if you're a regular viewer, welcome back. I hope you had a good break over the Christmas New Year period. And if you're a new viewer, well, welcome aboard. You've joined our channel, and we focus on commercial and business investments and making the most of them. This particular episode, I'm going to work on breaking a myth, breaking a folklore, as we say. I mean, everybody knows that the world was flat until we're told otherwise. And everybody knew that the universe revolved around the Earth until that was told otherwise. And the folklore we're going to attack today is everyone knows that if you don't do anything, it doesn't cost you anything. Well, we're going to have a look at what it actually costs if you've been looking for a property and haven't bought one, or if you're looking for a business and haven't bought one, or if you're looking to sell your business or your property and you haven't sold it. We've all had people sort of saying, like accountants would, for argument's sake, say, if you haven't bought anything, that's okay, it doesn't cost you anything. And you've got that warm, cuddly feeling because, okay, we haven't spent any money, we haven't done anything bad, we haven't made any mistakes, we're all right. Your neighbours are probably saying, you shouldn't be buying property right now because, property prices are going to go up, so it's bad for you. Or property prices are going to go down, so it's bad for you. Or property prices are going to stay the same, it's still going to be bad for you. So once again, you may be stuck there not doing anything, particularly if you've been looking for 6 months or more is where the real challenge is to come through there. So I'm going to go through today and we're going to have a look at fully understanding what the costs are if you do nothing. It may still be the best option for you, but at least with a bit of analysis and a little bit of basic math, we're going to go through and have a look at what it will cost you. Let's take the scenario firstly of if you're looking to buy a commercial property or a business. Now, with no expense spared, I've put up a whiteboard, and it's probably going to be a bit of a challenge with trying to make the microphone work, so just bear with me as I go in and out. For simple purposes, let's have a look at an asset that you're going to buy, which is worth 500 grand. These things really stink. Can you smell that? Oh, I suppose not. But life goes on. Okay, let's say you're looking at buying an asset, either a commercial property or a business, and it's worth 500,000. Let's say you've been looking for 6 months, and what's the cost of it for you if you've been looking at it for 6 months? Well, one area that you look at is return on investment. So probably a few things firstly. I will photograph this and put it onto a page for you so you don't have to panic too much. And you've probably already worked out that God invented keyboards for people with my type of handwriting. So if you've been looking for, let's say looking for a property, and most properties around in our area are around about 7% return on investment. So if you've been looking for 6 months, you would have lost out on a 7% net return. So 500,000 at 7%. What's 5,000 is 1%. The 35. So that's about $16,500. So that's the opportunity cost. But is it really an opportunity cost, or is it actually a hard cash cost? It's actually a hard cash cost, because that $16,500 was made by somebody. Now, it wasn't made by you because you haven't bought the property. So either the owner has picked up another $16,500, or someone else who's bought the property has made themselves $16,500. So your return on investment is the first cost that you have for what I call doing nothing. Now, doing nothing may be a little bit harsh. I mean, you're probably doing your research and sending in inquiries and doing inspections. But at the end of the day, you've been busy, but really you haven't been productive. So let's call a spade, and you haven't been successful. You've been doing nothing for 6 months. A little bit harsh, but I want you to be at the stage where your eyes are opening, say, wow, I hadn't thought of that. Because when you start thinking differently, you have the opportunity to develop and grow and improve, and that's what I want you to do out of these series. Let's have a look at another aspect. What else could be happening? So in the last 6 months, we've had a fair few interest rate rises. Okay, so what's the impact of, and being an international channel, you probably find that it doesn't matter what country you're in. Probably in the last 12 months, every country has pretty well had interest rate rises. Let's be conservative and keep the math simple and say it's 1%. So in the case of your $500,000 asset, you're looking at 1% of that is $5,000, 6 months, so it's about $2,500. So what does $2,500 mean? Okay, if you went and organised now, of course we've got a phone call. Who says real estate agents don't answer phone calls? Never heard that. So what you've got is, because the interest rates have gone up, if you went and applied for a loan now, you'd have to pay an extra $2,500 per 6 months. So that's an increased cost on there. And disturbingly as well is, for those who are leveraged heavily, you may actually find yourself that 1% interest rate rise may have put you straight out of the market. If you didn't have room to run with, the bank may say, well, you've got to put more equity into the venture, maybe another $5,000, or the payments suddenly make it impacts your capacity to pay. So there's two aspects of interest that may be an issue for you. Let's have a look quickly then in regards to if you're buying a business, because I like businesses. Return on investment on a business is not 7%. A decent business is 20% return on investment. So that's your net profit for 12 months. So if you looked at 20% of 500,000, that's 100 grand. You got 6 months, so that's 50 grand you lost. Are you starting to get the feeling that there is a cost for doing nothing? There is a cost for not purchasing. You're losing, and once again, that's a hard cost. That's a hard cost. You didn't make the 50,000, but it was still made. The owners bought it. The owners got it, or the new owner has picked it up. So somebody's made 50 grand, but it wasn't you. So we need to get out of that category. All right. Look, I've been accused of being fairly analytical. Look, I mean, I've played multiple national chess tournaments. Chess is my thing that goes off. There's not much emotion on the chessboard. So if we looked at the warm and fuzzy side of things, are there lifestyle costs? All right, if you were buying a commercial property or a business, yes, there is a lifestyle cost. If you had $16,500 in your pocket for 6 months, that's part of your dream. That's part of the reason why you're doing it. Your family's depending on you to bring in that money. Your husband, your wife, your partner, whatever you want to have that as a terminology, your kids, even the pet. That 16.5 grand, that could be a holiday. Fido could be living in a really good dog kennel while you're off, cruising the Caribbean for a while. It could be a good payment on the car for the teenage kid of yours who's got no intention of buying their own car and is relying on you to do it. So there's lifestyle costs in regards to that aspect as well. Now, what I want you to do, those who are new to the channel have not been across what we call a book of knowledge. For those who are regular, this is when you open up your book and write down a couple of points that you look at. What I want you to do is, okay, so you for argument's sake, video 4, cost of doing nothing, put the title on there, a couple of points that you may be having a look at. And I want you to sit down now and I challenge you, have a look through your data. How long have you been looking for a property or a business? You may have some notes in another notebook so you can see when you started it. It might have been July, might have been August, might have been March, whatever. Find that date. You may have subscribed to some of the online online sales websites, and you have you sent off inquiries. So when was the first email that you sent off to a real estate agent to inquire about an asset? Or you may have saved some searches. Have a look through there. And I want you to be serious now. Work out how long it's been that you've been looking for an asset, a commercial property or a business, and what has been the opportunity cost or the hardcore cost or the lifestyle cost that you've had while you're looking for it. On the other side of the coin, you've got people who are selling their assets. Okay, so does this apply to those who are selling assets? And a good way to work out if a principle is a solid principle is if it applies over various scenarios. So you've got a scenario. Okay, does return on investment affect someone who wants to sell their property or sell their business? Well, yes, it does, because putting a higher price on it. It gets to the stage. It's all right if you got, say, you've got a commercial property and it's gone up with inflation. It's gone up, say, 5%. Awesome. Hey, you're happy. You haven't done anything. That's cool. That's not a cost. But what the problem is if your lease hasn't gone up by the same amount, your return on investment actually shrinks. And return on investment is the key indicator for someone who's buying a commercial property or buying a business. So by having a shrinking return on investment, you're going to have less buyers. You're going to have less people who are going to be interested, because you're suddenly pushing yourself out of the market. So every 6 months is going to cost you. So if you've been thinking about selling that business for this last 6 months, and you thought about it last financial year, and you thought about it the last calendar year, you're starting to lose assets on it. You need to make sure that you're keeping that return on investment value high for people. What about interest rate rises? Does that affect people who are selling their properties and selling their businesses? Yes. Essentially, every 1% interest rise you get reduces the number of inquiries by 10%. So if you've had a 3% interest rise in, say, the last 12 months, there's 30% less buyers in the market. Now, that means you're suddenly looking at a buyer's market rather than a seller's market. Because there's less people who can get finance, so they can't buy the properties. When you've got lots of buyers, then that's a great stuff. And let's be serious now about lifestyle. Are there lifestyle consequences if you're selling your business or selling your property and you haven't done it for 6 months? Because your accountant says, get your business ready, get your financials ready, take 12 or 18 months to make it look pretty. Look, here's the reality of life. We can't tell the future. And I'm not talking about a GFC or a COVID or some sort of worldwide sort of effect. I'm just talking about you as an individual. Last year, sadly, one of my clients passed away, got electrocuted. A young guy, young wife, young child. You just don't know what's happening in the future. So it's really sad and tragic. I had another client who is 80. A very vibrant rooster, lots of energy. Was quiet for 2 weeks, so I went to go see what's going on. And get there, he pulls up his shirt and he's got this huge scar down the front. He's joined a zipper club. He had a triple bypass. And we explained to him, you really should have been selling your business 10 years ago, not now. Not while you've suddenly got all these challenges and changes to come through. Other aspects you've got. There was another one I was thinking of. Okay. So a lot of my clients who are selling commercial properties or selling businesses, they're around about the 65, 70 year mark. Now, let's say they're 70 and life is pretty good to you about 85. When you get past 85, all you can really hope for is a cup of tea and a milk arrowroot biscuit. That's the highlight of your day. It gets a bit sad. So if you spent 6 months delaying, 6 months out of your 15 years, that's about 3% of the life that you have left. What would you pay to get another 3% added to your life? For me, if I had another 3%, I would take my wife and we go to the Madeira Islands in Portugal, and we'd hire a house there with a maid and a cleaner, the whole kit and caboodle, for $1 a day. And I'd skirt over to Europe and play chess each week. That's what I would do. And look, being honest, I'd pay 150 grand to make that happen. To me, that is what I would put a value on as an extra 3% of my life. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. We've gone through looking at breaking the myth of what people say is you do nothing, it does cost you nothing. Well, now we know that if you're one of those people who have lost 16, 18,000 or 50,000 for 6 months, or heaven help you if you've been looking for more than 6 months, say you did 12 months, it's double that. You're looking at 100 grand. That's almost that's definitely, a lot of people aren't making that much money working for a living. So be certain about it. Do your homework. If the good news is, don't be too shell shocked. But shell shock is good because it makes you start to think and start to get ready for change. Make sure you subscribe and hit the alert button on this, because next week we're going to go back to the positive way of life and say, okay, how do we get out of this doing nothing category and get into this doing something category? Because when you do something is when you start making some serious dough. All right, take care and God bless. Bye.